When you're staring at a row of wine bottles on a kitchen counter and wondering whether a dedicated fridge is worth the space and price, that hesitation is real. You've probably asked yourself, will the cooler actually keep my reds at the right temperature, or will it just become another appliance that takes up precious countertop real estate? Will it fit in the nook I've carved out, and will it handle the occasional party binge without blowing a fuse? Those are the questions I tried to answer before hitting the record button, and I dug through a lot of buyer comments, spec sheets, and a few videos of people actually using the thing in their homes. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Zephyr Presrv 24-inch dual-zone wine fridge is positioned as a compact, under-counter solution that can store 21 bottles of wine and 64 cans of beer or soft drinks. The idea is appealing if you have a small but growing collection, or if you're an apartment dweller who wants a separate spot for wine without a full-size cellar. The dual-zone feature means you can set your reds around 55°F and keep your whites or craft beers a few degrees cooler, which is a nice convenience that you don't get with a single-zone unit. Who really benefits from this setup? If you're a casual drinker who enjoys a few glasses a night and prefers a tidy kitchen, the fridge's footprint just under 2 feet wide lets you tuck it behind a countertop or into a pantry nook. It works well for a small home bar, a condo kitchen, or a secondary bedroom where you might want to keep a minibar separate from the main fridge. The 3-color LED lighting inside, cloud white, deep blue, amber, adds a bit of ambience, which is a pleasant touch for those who like to display their bottles and make the space feel more like a wine cellar than a generic appliance. On the flip side, if you're a serious collector with a growing inventory or if you need to chill larger format bottles, magnums, champagne flutes, etc., the 21-bottle capacity will quickly feel limiting. The same goes for the can side. 64 cans sounds like a lot, but they need to be arranged in the dedicated shelf system, and larger drink containers can be a tight squeeze. People who already have a full-size wine cabinet or who plan to expand their collection beyond a few dozen bottles will find the Presrv a stopgap rather than a long-term solution. Let's talk about real-world performance. The active cooling technology is designed to keep temperature swings minimal, even when the door is opened frequently. In practice, most users I spoke with reported that the fridge holds its set temperature fairly well during a typical dinner party where the door is opened a handful of times. There's a door open alarm that chimes if you forget the door ajar longer than a few seconds, useful if you're in the middle of preparing a meal and walk away. The dual-pane, low argon-filled glass on the French door helps with insulation, so the unit doesn't waste energy constantly fighting the ambient temperature of a warm kitchen. One practical weakness that came up repeatedly is the noise level. The compressor hums softly in the background, which most reviewers described as a low, steady whir. In a quiet living room or bedroom, you'll notice it, but it rarely rises to a disruptive volume. However, if you plan to place the fridge right next to a home theater system or a study where concentration is key, the hum could become a mild annoyance. Another point to consider is the thermostat control. It's an electronic capacitive touch panel that looks sleek, but some users said the sensitivity can be a touch finicky. Light taps sometimes don't register, and you end up double tapping to get the desired temperature. It's not a deal breaker, just an extra step compared to a rotary knob. Energy consumption is another real concern for most buyers. The Presrv's 304-grade stainless steel exterior and insulated door mean it's reasonably efficient for a unit of this size, but because it's a compressor-driven refrigerator rather than a thermoelectric cooler, it will draw a steady amount of power. If you're looking to keep operating costs low, you might want to run it during off-peak hours or monitor your electricity bill after a few months to see the impact. For most households, the cost is comparable to a small dishwasher or a microwave, which many find acceptable given the convenience. Installation is fairly straightforward, but it's worth mentioning that the unit does require a proper vent space at the back. The manufacturer recommends a clearance of a few inches for airflow. If your kitchen layout is tight, you'll need to factor that into the measurements before you commit. The fridge also comes pre-wired for a standard 110V outlet, so you won't need a special circuit, but you do need a grounded outlet nearby. For renters, the fact that it's freestanding and not built-in can be a plus. You can move it without too much hassle, but you'll still need to watch the weight.